very warm, good afternoon, just past afternoon. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera, selamat petang. It's an honor for me to do the first pitch. I think in my office, I'm always known as the sales promotion boy of the project. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's going to be promoting not just a project, but it's a vision. It's a dream. A dream to be a world-class city for all, about Nusantara, and an opportunity for you to invest in the growth story of Indonesia. Let me begin with the outline, what I'm going to share with you. Very briefly, the introduction and the history of Nusantara. And then I'm going to go to the meat of that on the highlights of the key highlights of the investment happening. And at last, the contribution that is already happening from ASEAN, and still I'm inviting more to come to Nusantara. Let me begin with this picture. In the world, we have seen other new capital cities being created. We have Canberra in Australia, Washington, D.C. is separated from New York, there's Brasilia. Even in ASEAN, we have Putrajaya and Naypyidaw. But all of them happening in the same area of land, while Nusantara is the first time in the world where a capital city is moved from the current island of Java to Kalimantan, to Borneo, which speaks for not only about creating a new capital city, but also about creating equitable economic development. It is an economic driver with a land of 236,000 hectares and with the vision of being a smart, sustainable forest city. And this is not only a project, as I mentioned, not only what President Jokowi has said, because if we look at the history of Indonesia, our very first president, Sukarno, also set the vision that the capital city is not going to be in Java Island. And the subsequent presidents, President Suharto also has his idea of relocating the capital city to another area in Java. Pak SBY, the next president, also put equitable development as an agenda, but it is President Jokowi that sealed the deal, make the law for establishment of Nusantara being approved by the parliament, and then also setting up a new authority, the new Nusantara Capital Authority, where I am right now, as a testimony that this is a commitment. This is a point of no return for Indonesia to set the capital no longer in Jakarta, but in Nusantara in Kalimantan. No longer a Java-centered development, but in Indonesia-centered development. So it is not going to be a project that will end next year, but it's going to be a project that will begin with a substantial result next year in the two forms of one, the first Independence Day ceremony to be held in Nusantara, not in Jakarta, and also selective transfer of government officials to Nusantara as a place where we target to be having the place to work, to live, and to play. Yeah. So with that history of Nusantara, let me go to the highlight of the key investment that we're going to look at. And that is basically talking about three things. It is not just a capital, yeah, but it's about new economic driver. So in ASEAN, we have Putrajaya. It's not going to be Putrajaya only, but also Cyberjaya, but also the role of Kuala Lumpur as an economic development. And number two, this is the project which has a very strong basis of legislative support, executive support, and later I will answer the million-dollar question a lot of people ask, what will happen when we have a new president next year. And the third point are some snippets of what is on offer in Nusantara. At first, if we talk about Nusantara, and a lot of people ask, why are we building the capital in Kalimantan, which is the tropical lung of the world? It is because we want to show that Nusantara will be not just going to be a city, but it's a sustainable, smart forest city. It's not going to be deforestation anymore, but it's going to be reforestation, because 65% of the land of Nusantara will remain or will be reforested. And therefore, it's going to be the driver for future green economic growth. So again, we talk about Putrajaya and Cyberjaya. Maybe we can also talk about Nusantara being Canberra plus Shenzhen, or plus Dubai, or plus Singapore in the surrounding. It's not just administrative, but it's also economic driver. The second point is that if you look at Nusantara, maybe, well, a couple of 100,000 people at the beginning, but you need to look at it from the connection of what we call the Tri-City. Within the island of Kalimantan, Borneo, connecting with Balikpapan and Samarinda. Yeah? And of course, if we look at Kalimantan as a whole, that's where our ASEAN neighbors are. Sabah, Sarawak, Brunei Darussalam. So this is where Nusantara is. It's not a standalone project, but it's an ecosystem, leveraging the Tri-City concept and also the Borneo region. I think in Tuesday, we'll have a forum specifically addressing this Borneo, and we're going to elaborate more on that. Now, the next question, commitment. How committed is Indonesian government on this? We have a law passed already last year for this. We have the most attractive government regulation. Here we have my colleague from Ministry of Investment, who have helped us to come up with the most attractive incentive package ever happened in Indonesia, in Nusantara. Strong parliamentary support, almost all, about 80%, 90% of the parties support that, and an independent entity like Nusantara New Capital Authority that we're having. That's a commitment of the current government. But probably you're asking, how about next government? These are the three phases that people have been talking about, right? And of course, it's a $1 million question. I don't know who's going to be elected among them. All we know, these are the names that has been circulating. But if you look at the statements of these leaders made, all statements are supporting the existence of Nusantara, ranging from Pak Ganjar Pranowo, the governor of Central Java, and you can quote, there is a digital track record of what he's saying, you know, about Nusantara being Indonesia's future vision of the founding father. Pak Prabowo, the Minister of Defense, he endorsed strongly Nusantara as the center of the government, apart from the economic and trade. And former Governor Anies Baswedan of Jakarta also said that this has been established into law. Yeah? So all future presidents are obligated to do it. And fun facts, just yesterday, we now see that either the president or the vice presidential candidate of the three all are coming from the coalition party of President Jokowi. Yesterday it was announced, right? So I myself personally believe that this is not only for next year, it's for the future. All the future leaders of Indonesia supporting that because we believe they are committed to the vision of President Jokowi, yeah, following the dream of President Sukarno. Now I'm going to go to the menu, which is basically what we offer to investors. As I mentioned, this is the most attractive ever we have in Indonesia. When it comes to tax holiday, for example, we have a potential of up to 30 years for tax holiday in the housing sector, infrastructure sector. Yeah. in Indonesia, usually you have to invest at least 100 billion rupiah to get tax holiday, but for IKN, you only need to do it with 10 billion rupiah. So 1/10 only. The threshold is 1/10. There is potential of tax deduction if you invest on, or you actually donate for education, for R&D, yeah? Potential income tax exemption. I'm working in Nusantara, and the government will cover the income tax for those who are domiciled in Nusantara. There are scheme of government guarantees and PPP, public-private partnership. Yeah? And this is a very special case of public-private partnership, special regulation created for the PPP, because out of the 80% of the budget of investment required, more than 50% of that is targeted to come from PPP. So we're very strong with PPP. We have what we call the availability payment scheme for companies who invest, build infrastructure, build housing, and the government will recoup the investment in the next 15 to 20 years. So what are the sectors on offer? There are at least about 12 sectors I put here, which become the priority, ranging from renewable energy to telco to transport. Housing obviously is important. It's going to be a place for the people to work, live, and play. To work, we have the government ministries and the palace. To live, we invite participation of companies to establish apartments and housing using PPP scheme. But play is also important, where we have commercial infrastructure, social and public facilities, shopping malls, yeah? And in the coming week, we are working to make sure that some of the private investors, mainly at the moment the domestic investors who have sealed the commitment, will start construction within this month. Yeah? So that is now what is on offer. And for that, I see ASEAN friends, neighbors, you are part of this. Nusantara is going to be a world city for all. It's the capital city of Indonesia, but it's an opportunity for us, ASEAN, in the region. We're thankful to Malaysia. When Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim came, he brought along a group of companies submitting letter of intents. Yeah. Singapore, a very good friend, and until now, the largest number of delegations coming to Nusantara came from Singapore. More than 100 people visited there, chartering one whole Garuda Indonesia flight. Yeah? So, and Pak Jokowi himself, he came to Singapore to an event held by Temasek, the Ecosperity, and being a spokesperson, quote unquote, again, a salesman of the project, obviously much better than this, much better than me. So actually my job is very much dispensable, because the president himself is doing a very good job, a very strong job, and everyone in the country is doing that. And this is, again, the role of ASEAN neighbors to do it. And with that, we're seeing results of this, slow results of this. Out of the 202 letter of intents from companies received from ASEAN countries, at least now there are 2 housing projects being built by Malaysian companies. Yeah? Built in the sense that they are now preparing the feasibility study through the PPP scheme, where we will evaluate, and then when everything is right through the tender mechanism, we will have this being established, being constructed by these 2 Malaysian companies. Singapore, as a result of the Ecosperity Forum, we also signed non-disclosure agreement with a number of companies in renewable energy, in waste management, so that we can get the best technology to make sure that Nusantara will be the world city for all, built by ASEAN friends. Next week, I'm going to go to Bangkok for a forum to, again, share this to my friends in Thailand. Friends from Laos, we're very happy to have you. Vietnam, the Philippines, yeah? Brunei Darussalam, or also our friends from Timor-Leste, because we believe it's a world city for all, and it is also for all who feels that they want to make things happen. Because some people make things happen, some just watch things happen, and while others wonder what has happened. I believe you all here want to make things happen. Terima kasih, thank you.